What's up, beautiful people? Today we're going to be watching an interview of India's Petroleum Minister, Hardeep Singh Puri. In this one, he claims the world should be grateful that India is buying Russian oil. Let's understand this context.
Minister, can you shed some light on reports that Saudi Aramco is increasing investments here in India?
Look, this is an ongoing process. All our collaborators, whether in the Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, United States, we have ongoing discussions with them, and we make investments outward and they make investments here. We've had a lot of proposals which are at a commercial stage, etc. But if your question is, will there be an increase in the investments from outside successful economic entities, my answer would be yes. You will appreciate I can't go into the specific details of what is being discussed. By the way, we have these discussions on with many countries in the world.
Were you having those discussions with Saudi Aramco here at the India Energy Week, Minister? And is it going to be in the downstream side of the business?
As I said, I don't speculate on where. There are ongoing discussions across this canvas, if I may use that. I just had the minister from Sri Lanka here, and there are collaborations between India and others, India in Sri Lanka, etc. Those are discussions. You know, a platform like the India Energy Week provides you another opportunity, like the other international meeting, where people meet, discuss partly informally, they take it to an MOU stage, then they take it to the further stage. But yes, my answer is there is a lot of interest in India. That's partly due to the fact that the Honorable Prime Minister has taken some very far-reaching decisions. Out of the 3.5 million square kilometers of our sedimentary basin, we freed up 1 million square kilometers, which used to be a no-go area. We've opened it up for investment. We're already seeing results there. ONGC just struck oil 35 kilometers off the coast of Kakinada. They're hoping to produce 50,000 barrels of oil per day in a few months' time. This is all ongoing work. Indian overseas investments are also very active. We are looking for acquiring assets outside. We have about $16 billion of investment in Russia. The Russians have $13 billion here.
Can I talk about that, Minister? Because the Russian delegation is very well represented here. But India bought less Russian oil in January. I believe the number was at a 12-month low. Do you feel that...
12 months low compared to what?
But do you feel that is...
Exactly, good question. So if you didn't hear him, he said 12 months low compared to what? Like, what are you comparing it? What is the standard?
A 12-month low. Do you feel
12
that...
months low compared to what?
But do you feel that is an inflection point, Minister? And is the political and the diplomatic pressure getting a bit too heavy as far as the tighter sanctions are concerned? Does that mean that you're going to withdraw somewhat from Russian oil?
No, we are way off the mark. I think the facts need to be corrected. We started with 0.2% in February 22. What you say is a low point. We still import more than 30% of our oil from Russia. So it's not a low point. It is a fantastically high point, number one. We don't decide whether we want to import from you or from someone else. Our oil companies have a very open and transparent system. We consume 5 million barrels of crude oil in a day. They float a tender.
Wow,
and the tender
million.
involves supply of energy at a point of importation. So when the tender is floated, if he is the cheapest, he gets the tender. If somebody else is the cheapest.
So you're doing what is most economic for India, regardless of the diplomatic and the political environment?
There is no diplomatic or political environment. I think whoever has produced this narrative don't know what they're talking about. The world is grateful to India for buying Russian oil. It's not that they don't want us to buy Russian oil. There may be price cap, there may be other restriction. It's like this, if India, instead of buying Russian oil, if we start buying more of the Middle Eastern oil, the oil price will not be at 75 or 76, it will be 150. So that's not how it is. There's no political pressure, there is no diplomatic pressure.
That actually does make sense, because now if you're buying from the Middle East, it's going to go up because they need 5 million barrels, over 5 million a day. So yeah, oil to India is a big market. Why isn't Africa, Nigeria, why are they not supplying to India? So yeah, it doesn't make sense when he says the world is grateful. You see, when you read the titles of the video, you think, what is he talking about? That's controversial. But when you hear him, you understand the context, then it makes sense. Yeah, so if he was to go to like Qatar or UAE to buy, or Saudi Arabia to buy oil, the price is going to be exponential, then nobody else can afford it. That is logical.
Because neither Mr. Modi nor his government
Let me take you right back.
there is no diplomatic pressure. In any case, neither Mr. Modi nor his government have their minds wired to feel the pressure.
But if I may, Minister, there is a perception in international circles that by doing so, you are essentially funding President Putin's war in Ukraine and funding the war machine.
I don't know where you are coming from. Just ask the Europeans what they are buying from Russia. We are not doing anything of the sort, and this is not what the energy markets deal with. Let me explain to you. Once my my colleague went to Washington, he asked me, what are we doing? I said, if you're asked a question, tell them that Europe buys more in an afternoon than I buy in 3 months. And by the way, even when all...
Listen, we can't let that slide. He said, Europe buys in an afternoon what I buy in 3 months. So why are they accusing India? Listen.
Ask a question, tell them that Europe buys more in an afternoon than I buy in 3 months. And by the way, even when all this talk came, how is it that oil coming through the pipeline to Hungary was exempt? There's no funding of any machine. How is it that oil going through the pipeline to China was exempt? How is it that sales from the Far East to Japan were exempt? So I would respectfully submit to you and through you to whoever is producing the narrative that this is a lot of hogwash. So the reality is very different. There are still people in Europe, other countries buying large amounts of energy in different forms, and I don't want to open that discussion up. No one ever tells India what to buy, where to buy from, and we are not in the market to seek advice. As far as foreign policy is concerned, security policy and energy policy, we run an independent policy. And if somebody says the narrative this, that, they're entitled to their opinions.
Very good, sir.
Indian leaders. I don't know how they're doing in India. I don't know what India perceives of their leaders. But on the world stage, what I see, they are very, very smart and very knowledgeable. It's almost at the point where I think somebody described Indian leaders as cunning, but not cunning in the sense of, stabbing you at the back, but cunning in the sense of they put their national interest first in every situation. They don't want to, they're in the BRICS, but they don't lean in the BRICS. They are kind of like, we're in the BRICS, but also we're East and West, very neutral in every situation. And that's why people think it's cunning. But the way I describe the leaders of India, I think they are extremely smart. When you hear somebody like the External Affairs Minister, Jay Shankar, when you hear him speak, he speaks with so much, he speaks with diplomacy, but then a lot of knowledge is entangled with it. Like he can say something that is enforcing something very powerful, but he says it with subtlety, with generosity. And you're like, how did you express that with that level of calmness? So yeah, these guys, they know what they're doing.
How comfortable is India with, let's talk about market conditions, Brent crude oil at current levels in the mid to late 70s?
Look, comfort is a term in the human...
That was an interesting one. Yeah, going back to his point, he said the world should be grateful to India for buying Russian oil because they need 5 million or over 5 million barrels a day. In other words, if they went to countries like Saudi Arabia or Qatar to buy petroleum products, that will drive up the price because of the demand they need. So it's better they buy from Russia. And also he stated that they still buy up to 30% from Russia. So there's no down market. And his major reason for that is the interest of India. We're not looking for anything political or whatever the global economy or politics is saying. That's not what they care about. They care about the national interest and what works best for India. Anyway, share your thoughts. That was Hardeep Singh Puri. Hopefully I haven't called the name wrongly. That's the right name, yeah? Hardeep Singh Puri, I think. If you have anything to add, correct, or critique, please feel free to do so in the comment section. Smash the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.